Viewers, welcome to episode 2 of District X Magnus Project. We're back with Liam and Mark. We're going to kick off where we left off, which is on the Blackbird.
Yeah.
Do either of you have anything you want to add? Anything you want to say before we jump in?
I'm on camera today, which never happens.
That's
but
true.
It's happening
Yes.
today.
We get to see your wonderful face.
It'll be even more of a surprise when that's a Pendragon thing. People are like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we dive in? So I'll just show this first off. I've got this Doom Pool thing here now on the Roll20s. We're going to track the Doom Pool that way. We're also going to track plot points down here with you lads. And we're also going to show things like assets with dice. So if we have, let's say you get an asset that's called Super Suit. I don't know, I'm just making something up. You can take
Where is it?
D8
Where?
over here.
Where is my super suit?
Alright. And we can put a name in here and call it Super Suit. Do this and do this. And then there you go. Now you guys have a Super Suit D8 and you can track from there. That's how the game's supposed to. It's supposed to be a very visual game. That's how the mechanics are supposed to be. So we'll do that. All right. So as you find yourselves in the sky, having just avoided what seemed like was a full-on assault of the warehouse in Brooklyn, which, by the way, was supposed to be Bronx, but I messed up, so Brooklyn it is now. I'm pretty sure North Bronx wouldn't really have the room for a giant warehouse, but whatever. We'll just keep going. This is alternate reality, so in this one it does. Just a reminder to everyone as we go, we are doing some MCU-ish ties with this little thing. Think of it kind of as like something that would fit in What If. Probably a good way to look at it. All right. So as the two of you are in the Blackbird, here are the other people sitting / standing beside you. You got Jamie Madrix, Luke Cage, James Howlett, Layla, and Emma Frost.
Okay.
As we pick up, things are a bit silent. No one's talking. There's kind of a tough energy in the room right now, or in the plane. A sense of being overwhelmed by the scenario you're in right now.
Yeah. Just a tad. I mean, we're halfway to betraying our government and halfway to maybe finding out some truth about some things. So either way, it's going to be an exciting time.
Oh, definitely.
Let
Shit going on.
Yeah, let me ask Bob, how's Madrix doing? Because last time I checked, he was pretty uncomfy.
He looks pretty uneasy still. He looks nervous. He's keeping his distance from, especially from Luke.
Fair.
He doesn't look. He's not easy to anger, so he just kind of looks nervous, like he's trapped on a plane, thousands of miles in the sky,
With a bunch of international criminals.
Yeah, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Why don't the both of you go ahead and give me like I would say a notice roll in most games, something that would a dice
Something
pool
that
that would
require-
cover your wherewithal, like your understanding of what's going on around you.
Yeah.
You can
I-
use you could use something like crime or for your specialty, or vehicle for your specialty. I know that doesn't sound right, but I'll explain in a moment.
Okay.
That tracks.
How-
What about psych? If I'm trying to like read the vibe in the room, is that
Sure.
acceptable?
Absolutely.
I will do crime. I'm trying to think what makes sense. I think I'd say probably Judy for Cole. Like, again, this is him kind of analyzing the situation, getting a good grip of it, and deciding whether he should act now or wait to see what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think truth might fit. I think I'm gonna try truth.
Truth is a good one, actually.
Just for the sake of having a proper understanding of the situation and what is going on. And I'm gonna use my effortlessly cool to help the roll, not hinder.
And I will use my one hell of a detective to help.
All right, that is a 3, a 3, and an 8, all of which on a D8. Oh no, Mark got the
Not a
1.
goddamn one.
Oh, they hate you today.
They hate me. Dice have always hate me in this game.
Mark, you can have a plot point. I'm going to
Woo.
buy that and step up this D8 here in the pool to a D10.
Fun.
Oh no. Okay, cool. I think I will take the 8 and the 3 and give myself a 12 on success and then a D8 for effect.
Okay. One more time. Do you want to just lay that out for me again? What are you
Oh,
doing for
yeah.
total?
Total is going to be 12. 8 plus 3. Oh no, that's 11. 11 for the total and then a D8 effect.
11 for total, D8 effect, and Mark. I guess you're stuck with a 5 D4 as a.
That's all I have.
Yeah. It's 1d8 plus 1d10. So that's a 12d4 results. You got a 11?
Correct.
Okay. It's really hard to read what's going on. Layla is a interesting person. You would almost guess that maybe she's not all there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very hard to read her.
She's had an odd vibe since I've met her.
James looks hurt, betrayed, frustrated, and overwhelmed. That much you get. As to what, or like being able to chase down why, hard to say. Madrix looks nervous. Multiple Man is not in a comfortable place for him. Emma seems apprehensive, which is not something that you understand from her as a business mogul. Like, she is very, very confident.
Yeah, weirdly enough, Kenji knows her the best out of everyone here, despite never meeting anyone here before.
Yeah. And Luke looks like a fighter about to go into his next match. He's just very focused.
Interesting.
Granted, he's probably been planning or preparing for something like this for longer than the others.
Yeah, that's right, because he was a part of the resistance before any of them woke up, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's one other note. None of these folks are flying the Blackbird.
Oh yeah. Interesting. How's Cole looking like he's doing?
Cole is doing his best to be calm under pressure. Again, he looks like he's could go off at any moment. He's ready for something to go down. But ultimately, he's just kind of looking between you and our partner. Or
Matrix.
metrics. Yeah.
Yeah. Kenji's gonna stand up and kind of walk over to you on the jet as capably as he can while it's moving. He's gonna kind of crouch down. He's gonna go, all right, so we're a little bit out of choices here, so what do you say we make the best of the situation and try to figure out what we can about our company?
I think that's a good plan.
Yes. Tell you what, I'll take the little girl and Frost, and you take Cage and Howlet.
Great.
He kind of smiles and he goes, if you'd like, we can flip for it, if you'd prefer that.
No, I think you stand a better chance with the other two anyway.
Ah, good. And Kenji will kind of stand up, and he'll make his way over to Layla. But I don't need to do that first, if we want to do Cole first.
I don't really care who we do first. Why don't we, whoever has an idea of who they want to go after first, we can do that. Mark, do you have a sense of who you'd want to engage first?
I think Cole is going to start with Cage, mostly because it's someone who he knows a good bit about from his reports and stuff. Yeah. Also, he doesn't really want to talk to Howlet because, like, Howlet's always been much stronger than pretty much anyone, so he doesn't want to piss him off.
Okay, fair enough. So Cage is actually towards the front of the plane. You approach him. He's got a hoodie on. Hoodie's up, just like in the photo here. He's kind of got his head down. He's just really focused. He doesn't even seem to look up your way as you approach him.
Cole would just kind of wander over, looking around a bit, as if just kind of, nowhere in particular, just kind of wandering around, then almost looks to as if just to notice Cage, as if he hadn't just been walking up to him the whole time. Would just kind of look to him and go, so, you're, Mr. Cage.
Luke.
Luke.
He nods. You're Cole, right?
Yes.
He just starts staring forward, kind of looking back at the seat again.
So, you've heard of what the others have to say about this strange existence, I suppose, we are in now? Out of curiosity, how much do you believe what they say?
Well, at first or now?
Why not both? What are your first impressions? And how have they changed?
I've always felt something was wrong here. Something didn't seem quite right. Everyone I ran into, too happy. Things are working out for them. I couldn't really put my finger on what it was. Wasn't really my business. But I knew that this Magnus and his house were always positioning themselves in ways that other, let's say, dictators would have been frowned upon, to say the least, in the past. But it didn't work that way for Magnus. Instead, he was cheered. Instead, the people praised him I've been alone for a
Yes.
long time doing this. And when I met that girl, what she had to say was interesting. But if I'm honest with myself, it was just nice to have someone else that didn't think things were right.
I see. Well, I must say, things are good in my life. Have been for longer than I thought was possible. Even with the, well, ability I have. Surprisingly well. Sometimes I have this weird feeling. Like there's a nightmare I can't quite remember. That goes away as I wake. Something far less this. From what I've read, you're not a mutant, are you?
No. I
I
got
see.
my powers through different means.
Also, just to check, would they use the term mutant or would they use was it Homo superior?
It would probably be Homo superior.
Mm,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, and that's
What a
what
bunch
Cole
of
would have said.
what a bunch of
I
tools.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Cole would use the correct term for this timeline.
Straight out of Eric Lashner's mouth.
Yeah.
Man, Cole and Luke are so fucking perfectly matched for each other, aren't they?
Just show you, but you have to ask.
I see.
You might not like
I'll
what
have
you
to-
see, though.
Well, I'm curious to know nonetheless. 'Cause if this is not what I think, not what everyone thinks it is, surely the truth must be found. Even if it is painful. Even if I'll hate it. I'd rather know than not. But I suppose that's just me. I was born with an unfortunate power. See, mine, every time I use it, damages me quite severely. I always thought that was going to hamper me in my life, yet surprisingly, I've done very well. Which lends all the more credence to what I've been told and what you have said so far. Maybe I should find out the truth.
I think that'd be good. But I'm going to warn you. Mess me up for a while.
I see. Well, I hope I am ready for it then.
I hope you are, too.
Another question, out of idle curiosity. Are you truly unbreakable?
He smirks a bit at that. Still in one piece so far.
It seems there is merit to the reports then.
Let's hope so.
Indeed.
I think with that, we'll have the camera pan over to
Perfect.
Kenji.
Kenji time. Okay, so Kenji would like to go to Lila first. He's gonna walk up to her and kind of crouch in front of her and go, "How do you feel about magic?"
Like the card game?
No, I don't know what that is. No, like magic tricks, that sort of thing. Clearly, you're not like other children your age, but I have known quite a few young kids to enjoy a few tricks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I like real magic. You know, like like Doctor Strange magic. I don't really like. Mm, I don't like lies.
How do you know the difference?
Oh, I know. I I'm the only one that knows, really. I mean, not anymore, because I've shown others.
I see. What if I was sure that I could convince you that I had real magic, though I possess no ability? How would you feel about that?
Well, that would be a lie, I think, and I just don't really like lies.
Of course, few people do. Then maybe we should think of it as a game. Do you like games?
Yeah, I like games.
Perfect. Then how about I try to do a bit of magic and you tell me how I did it, how I managed to pull it off. Do you like that? If you win, then if you figure out how I did it, then you win, and if you don't, then I win.
She smiles. All right.
Good. All right. Now, and he pulls out like a handful of coins, and he's going to like kind of pick through them, and he picks up one specific one. He goes, "All right, heads or tails?"
Tails.
Perfect. And he flips and it is a double-headed coin, and he's going to catch it in his hand, and he's going to open the palm and goes, "Heads."
Yep.
Would you like to try again?
Yeah, but with a different coin, please.
Interesting. Why is that?
Well, because right before things get messy here, you do this magic trip with a double-sided head coin, and then, well, then at that point, you guys see, or you hear like an alarm sound come out over the plane, and you hear a voice that is familiar to both of you, and it says, we have trouble. Why don't you go ahead and give me like a roll to determine who this familiar voice is.
Oh, very interesting.
Ooh.
I found out some things that I wanted to find out, but boy, oh boy. All right, let's see here. Okay. I have somehow messed up the zoom on this.
Wow.
Let's see. I think hell, let's do glory, I think, on this one. I wanna be smart in front of my friends. I wanna figure this out. Let's do
Okay.
glory. And I think I might actually let effortless cool. Oh no, Bob. Let me ask you this. Let me ask your opinion. Do you think it's pretty good to be in would be a help or a hindrance with this?
I could certainly be a help with this one. By the way, did you use a hindrance? Did either of you use a hindrance in the last one?
I used a hindrance in the
No.
last one.
Okay. Make sure you call for a plot point in the future.
I shall call for a plot point.
But I'll throw you it now just for... I have no problem doing it like retroactively. I forgot about it.
Do not mind either way. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So you can, just for your knowledge of the game, whenever you're doing something, you can do something called a stunt. If you do the stunt without a fancy description, you get a D8 to the roll. If you add a fancy description, then it steps up to a D10. You spend a
Interesting.
plot point to do so. Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
that's interesting.
Okay.
I accidentally misrolled
Uh,
that, so I forgot to add a skill for it.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right. I will roll. Oh, do we have to roll something for this, or are we choosing?
You're choosing like what your best
Okay.
set is to what would be meaningful for you.
I think I'm gonna go with Glory. It's pretty good to be in, and Psych for this.
I'm gonna go with truth, is to kind of represent Cole's knowledge of people and things.
Ooh, much better roll.
And I'm going to do persistent in the face of adversity, but I'm going to use it as a hindrance, as he's kind of overthinking it.
Yeah.
Just kind of thinking, who is this? What's going on? Shit. What the? Yeah.
Oh, I love that aspect of the system. That's such a fun thing to play with.
And the specialty. I think I will take. I'm trying to think of what would be relevant. I don't really know. Would covert be relevant? Like knowledge of
Yep,
agents and people. Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
I am taking a 6 and an 8 for my score. So that's gonna be a 14, and I'll
Another
take
goddamn one.
Oh man, and I will take a D8 as my effect.
As much as I don't want to give Mark a third plot point, I'm totally going to buy that. But this time, I'm only adding a D6 to the mixture because I need a third dice for this Doom Pool. So I can stop using a D4 effect.
Incredible.
Yeah. All right. So.
Oh, also calling a plot point because I did a hindrance. So I should get another one.
Oh, I think I threw it to you, didn't I?
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah.
never mind then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It looks like it.
Yeah, you have a
He's
third.
got 3. Yeah.
I actually remembered for once. So there we go.
Oh, good.
1d10. That's actually why I wanted the visuals too. It makes it easier to like track things there. Ooh. So there is an opportunity there.
I'd like to buy your one
Yeah.
with a plot point.
It works a little differently. Like there would have to be a continued. You could do so next round, right? Because you've already
Right.
used your round. So
Yeah.
next round you could buy that opportunity, which would allow you to basically generate the plus D10, right? So
Do like D10s.
That's right. Sorry. So I'm gonna round back. It's a D6 if you don't give a if you do a stunt, but you're not creative and like you're not creatively coming up with anything. You'd be like, screw it. D6 and no description. I just want the extra dice.
Gotcha.
If you add a flavored description about your stunt, it's a D8. If you activate an opportunity and do a stunt, it's a D10. So that's what when you're activating my ones, that's what that's for. You can
And that would be like doing cool shit like shooting a door to lock it or stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Superhero stuff, man.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit to some degree.
Sky's the limit.
Right? I mean, is MCU sky's the limit? Does that work? All right. So for mine, that is a 9 D4 effect. So I think this will beat Cole, right? But not beat Kenji. Will be victorious. So for Kenji, you can go ahead and recognize this voice. This is someone who worked with you prior to X-Force, used to hand information in to a set of assets that would handle situations. So you, again, keep in mind you're the secret police. Before there was an X-Force, there were just a couple of agents that did the dirty work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Their code names were Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Shit.
This is Hawkeye.
Oh boy.
Where is that man? Where is he? I'm gonna
And
kick his ass.
he went AWOL a while back. You're not really sure what happened with him, come to think of it. So.
Come to think of it. All right, I'm gonna kick his ass. That's my next action. No, interesting. And do I see any amount of recognition on Mr. Cooper's face?
I think with the two of you being pretty far separated, with Cage being towards the front and Layla being
Right.
closer to where you are, you don't, one way or the other. But everyone is reacting to the lights, and you hear Howlett stand up, or you see Howlett stand up. Wolverine stands up and says, "Looks like we have trouble."
So it would seem. I don't suppose this thing has any solid defensive capabilities or parachutes or safety features.
With that, Emma nods. It does. It just depends what we're up against.
Joy. And Akiyama will sit down and like buckle himself.
With that, you guys see something like a blur scream past the Blackbird. Go ahead and why don't we test that to see if you recognize what that is?
Okay, that sounds like a vehicle check to me. I'm gonna say. I think this is gonna be duty for me because that's the most like doing my duties. The most likely I would have been able to identify what this is, and then a vehicle. And I'm gonna give myself it's pretty good to be in.
I'm going to do truth. Because I imagine this is something Cole may have had a report on or has researched in his time, depending on what it is.
Most certainly.
And I will use one hell of a detective as a help.
You should always have at least 3 dice. So just so you're aware, you should always be able to apply a virtue, distinction, and a specialty of some sort.
Yeah.
And then your powers are whether or not you have something relevant. So.
Mr. Bob, genius of the API, I might have detected another slight bug.
Uh-oh, what is it?
Where it says, do you have a relevant speciality? I am choosing something that I have a D4 in, and there is no D4 option. It goes D6 and then no.
Okay. For now, go ahead.
Easy enough for me to just roll another D4 somewhere else, but like, just for your own information.
That's fair. Okay, so we should have this ironed out by the time we're done with the prologue.
Looks like that's the case for all of the other options as well.
Is it just a D6 and then nothing else?
Yep, it's just missing the D4 option. Everything else is there. It's just the D4 that's missing.
Good.
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, I'll roll vehicle as well. Though I'm not sure if it's a vehicle, but we'll see. Don't have relevant power. I didn't roll a one.
Oh, you know one? Yeah,
I didn't roll a one, guys.
I'm so proud of you, you legend. This is a shitty roll for me.
It's still a horrible roll.
I think I will take. I'm gonna take a 9 and then a D4 effect. So shitty for me.
I'm gonna take a 6 and a D8 effect.
I have a 9 and a D6 effect, so just slightly beats Liam out here.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. It didn't quite look like something you're familiar with. It wouldn't have up, and it moved too fast to be one of the standard Magnus jet planes, like fighter jets.
Mm-hmm. Kenji will kind of turn to Lila and he goes, "You seem to be pretty knowledgeable about things. Do you know what we're up against?"
Oh, yep.
Would you like to share with me what that is?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess you don't really realize.
It's
Well,
hard to keep up sometimes.
yeah, you're probably familiar though. You used to see him all the time whenever you went to Genosha to visit the house.
Most likely.
Oh, these are the Tony Stark's best invention, the Ultron agents.
Fuck! Ah! Oh! Wonderful. That's wonderful. And Kenji will like try to like look at Cole and just like do like a "this is Fox" and like gesture like we are screwed.
Mhm.
Cole just kind of nods at this point, expecting as much.
How's Maddox? Is he okay?
He-
Poor buddy.
He's panic. He's starting to look around now. He's like, "Oh God, do you think we could contact X Force?" He says in a whisper to you.
Oh, I
And
think
Maddox or Wolverine says, "Not gonna happen." And he goes,
I think we're all right. After all, they haven't started firing just yet.
and it's about that point that the
Mm.
Blackbird shakes for the first time, and you hear the pilot come over the comm. "We have some trouble. I don't think we're going to be able to get out of this one easy. We have a couple of chutes in the back. We might need to use them right now."
Oh,
And you hear Emma say, "Scott's going to kill me if I lose the Blackbird."
gonna make a mental note of the name Scott. That does not help because realistically there are thousands of people named Scott, but maybe it'll be useful later.
You probably work with a few Scots.
Just for clarity's sake, he said a couple of shoots. How many is a couple exactly?
You look over and you see 4 chutes.
Fuck. Okay.
The others look unpacked, like they were used, and no one got to folding them back up.
Oh, come on, you guys. That's like the most important thing. This is fine. I'm unflappable. I cannot be flapped. I'm fine. Kenji just kind of nods and goes, "Oh, well, certainly presents a challenge to be solved then."
Who are you turning towards, or like, are you speaking to anybody or yourself mostly?
No, I think it's just to him. I think Kenji that was for Kenji.
Maybe we'll go back to Cole real quick. What's Cole doing with this news and knowledge? Is he just kind of resigning himself to the situation a bit?
I think at this point he's like, well, there's not much I can do. I don't exactly have the power set to take on whatever the fuck is flying next to us or firing at us. So he's just going to continue on as he does, cool as a cucumber.
Okay. Another strike rings out, and you hear a loud crash as one of the wings effectively blows. There's a huge chunk out of the right wing of the plane, and the plane starts to descend quickly. Not so much that it's free falling, but it's going down. And you see people scrambling with the four parachutes. Emma's quick to grab one for herself, and then moves to go help Layla. Wolverine's kind of doing the same. What are you two doing?
I guess I'm securing Layla, making sure she gets what she like one of the shoots. Despite the circumstances. No, okay, here's what
Yeah.
Kenji. I think Kenji's gonna give himself a shoot if he can, and then he's gonna grab Layla and make sure that like she goes with him, you know?
Yeah. How do you grab her too? Like what? By the
Oh
hand?
god.
By the
No,
arm?
no. He's gonna kind of like bear hug her, you know, like
Okay.
under the arms, kind of like very secure, like almost a full Nelson, but like, you know, not painful for her, just like whatever he can do to grip her as tightly as possible.
Okay. She looks at you and says, "Oh, that won't be necessary." And everyone just looks at her funny. It looks like Cage and Wolverine are ready to go without a shoot at this point.
Yeah.
Madrix is quickly trying to grab at one of the remaining two.
How many are remaining? There's 2 remaining?
Yeah.
Okay. Cole would grab the other one.
Why not, Layla?
She shakes her head and then smiles back at you and says, "It's magic."
So it is.
With that, the hatch is opened and out goes the Wolverine without a a pack, followed quickly by Cage. And then Emma looks back to you all and says, "We need to move quick."
I suppose so. How's oh boy, I hope our boy has a shoot. Madrix is good, right?
Oh, he's got a suit. Yeah, he's got a
He's
suit.
good. Okay, then in that case, Kenji will kind of walk up and he goes, "I've never gone skydiving before." And he just kind of like does like a fun little like jump out, like clearly enjoying the process of falling to his death potentially, you know, like, hey, fuck it, let's have a good time with this.
Look, Cole's gonna go up next to Madrox and like look at him and go, "You gonna jump?"
He looks down, pale as can be, and looks back up and nods. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. You ready? 3, 2, and Cooper's gonna push him and then follow afterwards.
It's like, what? Ah! Yep. And out he goes. All right. So, is that everybody? I guess that leaves Cole.
That leaves Cole
Oh, Cole would follow after him,
Okay.
like
And
as soon as he pushes him out.
and Layla, who is deciding that she is not going to be leaving the plane
Yeah.
for some reason.
But did Kenji go?
Yeah, Kenji like did a
Kenji
fun
went
little
first,
jump
yeah.
out, like a cute little like wee.
Okay. So, as all of you are parachuting, we'll kind of put this into like a fancy scene. You see dozens of these Ultron units kind of circling you as you're going down. Like they don't look like they're targeting you. They just look like they're escorting you down. At the same time, you look up at the Blackbird and you see it do some really fancy aerial maneuvers, especially given the wings situation. And then you see 2 Ultron beams shoot into it and it just explodes in flame.
Kenji has mixed feelings.
So
What's
that would be both Layla and your boy pilot that were still in there.
yeah, and Black Widow too as well.
She was not in the plane.
We just heard Hawkeye, right? They both went rogue around the same time, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Focusing on something else briefly. What's the terrain below us like? Are we over the Atlantic right now, or are we closer to something else viable?
You are over the Atlantic.
Awesome. Love that. Well, that's fine. Kenji like Kenji like pats down his pockets, realizes they're loaded with trick coins and shit like that, and he just he takes out all of them except for the double-headed coin and like drops him off so they're not weighing down his fucking his clothing as he hits the water. Like, just this is gonna suck.
Okay, sounds good. Give me 1 sec. I'm just having some Roll20 difficulties. That's why I'm delaying there. I was trying
Yeah,
to get
buddy.
something going. But you
Yeah,
know what?
no
You know what I'll
worries.
do is I can move on without it. I'm just getting stuck on it. I hate when things don't work. I'll try one more time and then I'll give up.
While we're on that, how do we spend blood points again? I forgot.
There's
We
certain
spend them to
things.
do things. They give us extra dice. I don't remember what was the thing.
Yes. So they can be used to lower your stress in situations.
Mhm.
You know what? I should probably pull up a chart for you guys. That would make it easier. It seems like a reasonable plan to me, doesn't it to you?
Charts are very helpful. Yeah, I
Mm,
think we can use them to
yes.
step up certain things, and there's a lot of abilities that are like specific to us. I don't think either of us necessarily have them right now, but we can spend them
Yeah.
on those for sure.
I think there's like a
First,
really cool chart. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
oh no, you've crossed one of them out. That's awful. I hate that.
There we go. Now I can cross two of them out like my plan. There we go.
Ah, I hate that.
Just waiting for this to launch.
Though, I mean, the loss of Hawkeye is not. It's not
Surprising.
That's not that bad. No, I love Hawkeye. I'm just being mean to Jeremy Renner.
Poor bastard. So you can probably see this here. So you can use plot points to add a push die, which is what, like before stunt, right? Stunt dies at D8. Activate a special effects and special effects state, blah, blah, blah. Use this to activate it. During a transition scene, which you guys have not been part of yet, it would be like a downtime scene. You're about to go into one. I'll explain that in a second. Spend on an after roll, so you can add an extra die to the total. So if you, let's say you have an actual dice pool of 5 or 6 dice, you want to add 3 dice to the total, or 2 dice, 2 different effect die. You can do so. So you could hit 2 people, one with a D8, one with a D6 kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Use an effect die from a reaction roll. So let's say you use this Nightcrawler's Bamf. You could Bamf and use your reaction roll effect die, which was like the dodgy thing, to basically end up behind them, kicking them in the back of the head. It was like a counter attack. So it's super comic booky, super cool. One of my favorite parts of it. Change the stress type. Let's say you are about to take physical stress. You could convert it to some story themed reason why you took either emotional or mental stress, or social or mental.
Right.
Yeah, and that, so those are it. And then Doompool, kind of similar thing. I'd be happy to share this out to you guys.
That would be helpful. I would love that.
Okay. Yeah. I will do that. Remind me to do that in the transition scene.
Copy that.
Copy.
All right. So just as you're falling down, just after or not falling, as you're floating down, so to speak, under escort, all of a sudden a strange portal opens up under each of you, and you find yourself.
Shit, my coins.
It would be just before you let go of anything, so don't worry.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, they fall too. You find yourself.
Oh shit! No.
You find yourselves standing before a somewhat public face and probably someone who'd be a very unfamiliar face to you in Manhattan.
Is it Sherlock?
It's
it
your
Sherlock Holmes?
boys, Doctor Strange and Wong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Wong's here too. Fuck
It's
yeah.
Wong.
It's
Fuck yeah.
Wong.
And
Fuck Doctor Strange. Wong's here.
furthermore, Layla and Clint are already standing here.
Oh.
Looks like they made it out.
Oh.
Layla has a smug look towards Kenji. Kind of like a I told you so kind of look, or like, you know, I guess cheeky might be a good word for it.
Hey, Kenji trusted her because he did not try to take her off of that plane. So he's just kind of smiling back, and he goes, "Magic."
Yes, that is what we do. The name's Strange.
Strange. I suppose so.
You
Uh,
can call me Steven if you prefer.
Oh, Steven works. I like that. Kenji Akiyama. And these are my partners.
So with
Cole.
that, yeah, okay, Cole, and then
Yeah.
I think they'll read off too. I won't bother going through each of them. You can be brutal. It's a bigger NPC cast right now. So what you probably would know is that Emma seems to know Strange. They seem to have a already existing familiarity with one another. So does Layla, but it seems very one-sided. Like he doesn't really know her. He just quirks an eyebrow. And when she says "good to see you again," he just quirks an eyebrow and looks at Wong, and Wong looks back at him, and the two look back to all of you.
That tracks.
This is the girl, yes? Her name is Layla, if my intel is correct.
Well, I wouldn't presume to speak for everyone else here, but so it seems.
With that, Emma chimes in. Yes, it's as Kenji said, and you assumed, this is the girl, the one that is showing us the truth of things. I'm glad that you received my message. Strange nods. I hope what you showed me is accurate, because if it's not, and we're stuck in this reality, things are about to get a lot more complicated.
Oh, more complicated. I wasn't sure that was possible. This is exciting.
With that, Wong chimes in and says, Magnus isn't a very forgiving man. I'm sure that what we've done here is seen as a betrayal. Luke adds at that point, he says, looks like we're going to have to move up the timeline.
Kenji kind of looks at Cole, and shrugs,
What the hell are we a part of right now? You should feel
Yeah.
very much like you're along for a ride right now.
I mean,
100%.
Technically, Kenji still considers himself a hostage. So this is, we're working on it here.
Yeah. And Cole just kind of looks to Kenji and shrugs in a similar manner. I guess this is where we're going.
With this, Emma turns towards Layla and says, I think it's best that you show everyone what they need to see. the rest of them. And with that, Layla looks concerned. I don't want to show anyone that doesn't want to see, though. Is that right? If they want things to be how they are, then they should be okay with that. Emma fights back every attempt not to roll her eyes at this kid, and says, yes, but we're about to run into trouble. Look, if you can just convince them. And then with that, Wolverine says, you heard the girl. It's everyone's choice. That's her call. I can respect it. Luke nods to that. Layla will look to Kenji and say, do you like magic?
Oh, me? Oh, definitely. Ever since I was a boy. My mother used to tell me stories of spirits and the mischief that they'd get off to. So, I have a connection to them, we'll say.
She nods to you. I can show you, you know. I'm just not sure you want to see it.
Kenji kind of looks up for a minute, and then he goes, the way I see it, how it was, if this world was made by, in some part, my wants, it implies that there are things in reality that I lack, that I crave.
She nods. Exactly.
While I understand the challenge of reality versus whatever this is, fantasy, I suppose, I'm not sure which side of the fence I sit on with that. On one hand, I'm a firm believer in finding your place and making sure that you accept the challenges that life gives you. But on the other hand, if this is good for quite a lot of people, isn't that worth it?
She shrugs. I think it's up to everyone to know the truth, if they wish.
I believe that you're right. The choice should be allowed to be made, if it can be made. Can it be made? And he looks to Emma, like...
Emma shakes her head. We'll have to ensure that you don't provide intel on us, but we won't harm you. We can find a way to render you disabled for a time. If you do not wish to come along, I understand, but we can't let you get in the way of this. We've gone too far and we risk too much now. There is no turning back for this group of us. And Madrick says, no turning back, but I haven't agreed to anything. I mean, I got on the plane, but he looks to Cole and says, Cole, can we do something here? Like, he seems to be in a full panic about this.
Cole is silent for a few moments before he kind of looks up. Looks towards Layla and would say, I would like to know the truth. No matter how painful it is. If this truly isn't real, The truth is important. It is sacred. And when we cover it with lies and falsehoods, truth becomes so much more blurred. It loses its value, its meaning. So I would like to know the truth. I would like to seek the truth.
If you need magic,
Uh-oh.
oh,
Oh,
what?
We
okay.
good? Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Yeah.
we're good.
If this
The monster.
situation gets out of hand, if you lose something that you're not willing to lose, I would be happy to take the fall for you. I took you hostage and betrayed you, right?
He frowns. I can't let you do that, Kenji. It's not what friends do.
On the contrary, I think that's exactly what friends would do.
So with that, we're just going to slide back to Layla, who's now walked across the room towards Cole. She reaches up. Again, she's a fairly young girl. She reaches up and puts her hand on your face. And then you're flooded with memories. Why don't you give me a psych test here versus the Doom Pool to see whether or
Okay.
not this puts you in a bad state or not.
I'm
And
going
then
to
we'll-
use truth as my value.
Can I have a power hinder me as well?
No. You
Mm.
can with limits, right? So we can
Right.
look through your limits if you built a limit that way.
Mm.
But if
I-
you want one to do that, like my recommendation would be build a limit off of it in the future and add a special effect.
Yeah, I do kind of have a limit. Mood-linked powers. Now technically that's activated when I use psychometry. But I would argue that might play into effect here. Earn 1 PP and add a die to the Doom Pool equal to any emotional stress suffered. Is that
Well,
something that I could
Does
do
that
here?
mean? Does that mean you have to suffer emotional stress, or is it a
Yes.
consequence of it? You suffer mental stress.
Gotcha. So I
Don't
have
worry,
to.
potential emotional
Okay.
stress is coming right now. So you're
Oh,
Oh,
perfect.
okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
and we'll
Okay.
see. We'll see. I mean, it's not going to come to Kenji unless Kenji chooses to
Yeah.
learn
Alright.
the truth.
I will use distinction persistent to the face of adversity. Just trying to power through this.
Okay.
And the thing is psych. Ooh, it's a D8.
I'm actually.
Actually, I get to roll first this time, which is good for you because you
Oh,
could activate an
yeah.
opportunity because she's doing something to you. But I'm going to use a Doom Pool for it because it makes sense.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right, so there is an opportunity, but it is a
Ooh,
high
there's
roll.
opportunity. Mr. Bob,
Yes.
I would like a plot point, a PP, if you will, because I'm gonna hinder myself on this. I'm gonna use my distinction. It's pretty good to be in, because that is specifically contrasted with the truth, which is ever the outsider, right? That's
it.
something that's changed here.
Mm.
That's when Kenji receives the truth. Is that true? Because she's not going to feed you the truth unless you ask for it, right?
I think he's okay with that. I think his truth is 8. I think that's important to him, even if
Oh my-
he's already figured that he's probably not gonna like what he sees on the other side. But the man's pretty unflappable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably be fine. He'll probably be fine, right? He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll probably be fine.
Another fucking one.
Yeah, you have really bad luck.
You want to use that opportunity, buddy, or is it too late for him?
I'll give it to you this time if you want to do it, but that's what I was kind of getting at, right?
Oh,
So,
do I have to do that before? Sorry.
yeah, you have to do that
Yeah.
before you roll. So if you
I did want
you
to
could
do
take my 1. You have to spend a plot point to do so.
I will do so.
And if he does it, I cannot. Yes.
You can still activate an opportunity. Opportunities
we can-
are yeah.
It's universal.
Okay.
Cool.
Well,
I'm not gonna.
she'll
but-
be rolling separate on you anyways. Like she's not doing this all at once.
Oh.
She's doing it to Cole first.
Yeah.
So
I
Kenji gets to
see.
experience the response from Cole first before.
Yeah.
Before
I
he.
think yeah.
Oh
See if
no!
I think I
Cole's
still
sobbing in a
lose
corner. Maybe
by
I don't want to
one.
see this.
Okay, so if you activate that, it's a D10 you get to add to this mark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, you got to describe the stunt though in order to make that happen. So what is this?
Okay.
What is this reflecting?
I think in this case, it's as the memories are kind of his mind. Like he is desperately trying to focus on like that value of truth and pushing through the pain that is being caused to him to find what it is that is being looked for, the sliver of reality that's hidden behind this strange veil. And just that desperate drive and desire for it is him pushing through like his mind. I imagine it almost like to give it kind of a stunty kind of vibe, it's like him in a mind space being slowly pushed upon by like the kind of darkness, the
I like
foreign
that.
memories, but he's kind of pushing back against it, and there's like a crackle in his hand of electricity, a reminder of a pain that he's had for so much of his life. And yeah,
I like it. All right, why don't
Very good.
you go ahead and make the D10 roll?
watch it be another one.
I really hope not. There you go.
It's a 7.
You know
Okay,
what?
much
You know what
better.
the best part of that is? Is that will push you into a success
Oh yes, it
because
does.
you'll.
And D8 for the value or the thing. Yeah.
All right.
Very nice.
Very nice.
You are able to suffer through this. So I'm going to workshop this with you a bit because we did talk about it, but we didn't flesh a lot out. So if we go through your distinctions, you had. No, I think these are your. All three of these are still your distinctions in your otherworldly sense, right?
I think they're the same ones, yeah. I didn't decide to change them.
I think like one of the memories
Changed one of them.
that goes into your head is that partner you have where everything's just worked out, and in like reality that was someone you met, and it's like it's like the thing that made you give up on having a partner. Like the two of you just couldn't work it out, and you to this day, as your memories are flooding in, it's like someone you still long for and regret, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just to set
I
the
like
tone
that.
for Cole. What else do you think? There's any other big shifts? Like, so
I think probably the biggest one would be like a time he used his powers, like completely fucked up his hand, like to the point where like he still has difficulties in the real world, like writing with his left hand because it's kind of jagged up.
Oh, that's cool.
I like it.
Is Cole left-handed?
Yes, we'll have him be left-handed because
This is extremely important to me.
yes.
All right. Yeah. So, but Cole succeeding does not take any stress from that. I will, however, up a doom pool.
Yeah.
So we are gonna take another d6 for now. The doom pool,
Is that for me, Bob? Are you giving that to me?
right? That is for Mark's one. And Mark, that goes to you. It's one thing I do like is the GM is forced to play the game too. Like I can't just generate
Yeah.
dice in the doom pool out of the sky. I have to actually earn them through your
Yeah.
bad rolls. So
You get it for all fuck ups.
yeah, or for your dice. Poor luck. Really. All right, and so with that, Layla steps back, and how would Cole react to this? So you succeeded, but it doesn't mean that you're like perfectly okay. It just means you're not suffering ongoing emotional trauma or stress from this.
I think he's just kind of still for a moment, and his eyes are still wide from the experience. He's just kind of breathing heavily. I can't believe it. All of it. Every single bit of it.
I picture
It's all
Cole having been someone too who, like, didn't go to Xavier's school. Like he,
Oh no,
yeah,
he was just
he lived the hard life. Like he probably hasn't had a strong relationship with his identity
well,
as a mutant, right?
specifically like he thinks mutants are problems. He thinks they're like a threat to society, which is kind of the irony that he
Is one.
and yeah, I mean that's part of the reason like we'll probably go into a bit more of why he's like a detective in Mutant City.
Yeah.
I mean in
M-Town. Yeah, you
because
bet.
M Town because like that's where some of the biggest problems in the city, and that's where he's most useful.
All right. We're gonna cut over to Kenji at this point, and Layla has moved back towards the general group and looks to Kenji next.
There's a fly in my room.
Okay. I thought you were trying to wave me down. I was like, hand
No,
signals.
you're good. No, not me, not me. Yeah. Kenji just kind of smiles and goes, "Thank you for this. Is it just that you don't like lies?"
No, she says. Wanda isn't good. She's done really bad things.
I see.
This is going to collapse. One way or the other. It's best if we bring it down and return to the way it should be before it gets worse.
Would you like to know a secret?
She leans in.
That's the best reason I've heard on why I should follow through with this. I'm ready when you are.
With that, you see like just the camera pans in, and you see like just a finger touch the tip of your head, kind of thing, and then all of a sudden, basically right in your forehead, and then all of a sudden the scene cuts to a montage of I'm thinking starting with Kenji always being on the outside looking in. That's the montage we get.
Yeah, it's
ever the outside
family
looking
home.
in.
Yeah, the whole like moving to America and figuring out that shit and never feeling like he had a place, just always, he's too American to fit in with the people from his homeland, and he's too foreign to fit in with the Americans quite right?
On top of that, there's the whole being a mutant thing, which is
A
very
whole other
contentious.
bag of worms. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially because I think this Kenji is really shocked to see how mutants are treated in the real world. I think that's something that sits with him, and I think depending on how this role goes, it's gonna affect him in a very specific way. But let's see how it do first.
Okay, let's give her. I guess it's me first, so I will do that.
Give me that doom roll.
Hey, look.
Oh fuck. Okay, well that's 2 1s. That's actually excellent for me.
It's not bad, yeah.
I would like to. Can I spend a plot point to get that? And you don't have to give me a new one because I'm actually going to hinder my own roll here.
You can actually, yeah. Well, I mean, you just want the plot. So if you want a plot point, you're going to hinder your own roll anyways. If you want the opportunity, it'll give you a 10.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Can you just give me the 10 then? Because I'm going to hinder and then I can spend that right away. Does that work?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
This is why having a few d6s in the doom pool is a good idea.
Yeah. Does
Mm.
the target have any stress? No.
No.
All right, so you are not going to beat their. You're going
Don't
to take.
forget the D10.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, roll your d10. That's right.
Yes. I just roll that separate.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll it separate.
Yeah.
Come on, save me here, D10.
Come on.
2.
Oh, please.
All right, so that's the total of 5, 6, 7, 8, and I rolled what? 9, 10. Yeah. So you would have taken a D4 stress, but because you fail by 5 or more, it sets up to a D6. So you take D6 emotional stress.
D6 emotional stress.
So it's not a lot, right? But it's
No,
enough
could be
to.
worse.
A D12 would stress you out. You would
Is that
be.
mental?
That activates your thing,
Mental
doesn't
stress?
it?
No,
Yeah.
because I think I have to be using the power. I'm not certain.
Oh,
wait,
okay.
maybe.
I thought-
Mr. Bob.
Yep.
Can I earn 1 PP and add dice to the doom pool equal to any emotional stress suffered?
Yes. Absolutely.
I would like to do that, and that's my powers kind of like reacting. I think like the lesson that he learns from this is still the one that he wanted, but his powers kind of amplify the feelings of sorrow and regret that are there, and it just like really messes with him a little extra, you know.
Basically, Jean Grey in every single episode of the X-Men. cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. And that
Mhm.
stress, that's the mental stress, yes, or is it social stress?
It is right because they changed it. It used to be emotional stress.
Yeah,
We'll
Mhm.
go with mental, I believe.
mental sounds right to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, cool. So Kenji sees all these images go by, and especially the how mutants are treated. And I think there's a moment of horror when he sees this, and then a little bit of outrage, where he's looking at how the world has been made, and the way that it's been shaped, and the fact that it even has to be fiction, right? Like the idea that mutants being treated any amount with any amount of quality has to be an entire fabricated reality. It hurts. It physically hurts him, and I think when he breaks it, when the memories are over, he's just like crying, and it's not like loud sobbing, but like the tears are coming, and he feels this pit in his stomach, and I think he might actually like excuse himself and go and throw up. Like he's still
Okay.
gonna be charming enough to be like, I need a minute, but he's still gonna like just everything comes out.
You can choose to do that. That would typically be what, like, if you were emotionally stressed out, that would be a good example. Like, you'd have to leave the scene or be rendered useless, right? So, like,
Right. So he's not there yet. He's queasy. We'll
yeah.
say he's queasy then. Okay. Cool.
Okay. But you can choose to. I won't remove role play from the option.
Nah,
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It's fine. I like my man being unflappable. He just kind of, as he parts, he goes, oh God.
At that point, Layla goes up to Strange and Wong, and I'm just gonna roll to see how ridiculous this is, because if it's like really bad for Strange, no. I think Strange toughs through it. He nods and he says, kind of very similar to Cole, there's a bit of pain on his face, and he says, it looks like what you said was true. And he says to Emma. And then Layla looks to Wong, and Wong says, no thanks, I'll take his word for it.
Attaboy, Wong.
Wong. He's got the right mindset.
Madrix will also pass.
Oh, that boy's gonna betray us so fast.
Oh, 100%.
So I will say, like, if one of you wants to try and talk him into it or do something here, you're more than welcome to.
Mm.
Like, he looks really
might-
on the fence.
Yeah, I might, but I'm not gonna do it now in front of everybody. You
Yeah.
know?
Got it.
Cole's not going to now. As well, he's still kind of coming to grips with reality, or the false reality. As
Emma says, well, now that most of us are on the same page, I guess we can get down to work. There's something all of you need to understand about this. This all comes from one source, and that's Magnus's daughter.
Wanda.
She nods.
I may need to reconnect in a second. I can't hear this.
Oh, you can't hear us, Mark?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think it's on me. And be back in a moment.
All right. Now Liam is Liam and Mark, and now I'm Mark.
Hey, it's me. I'm Mark. I'm super handsome and talented, and everybody likes me, and I like everybody.
Bob again. All right.
Okay.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I fixed my problem. Continue. Sorry, I missed like a good chunk of what you just said.
I'm trying to think. What did I add at the end there? Oh, it was just a little bit of banter and stuff between.
Okay.
Oh, Emma had said this all comes from one source, and that's Magnus's daughter. And Kenji said Wanda, and Emma nods.
Mm.
Before all of this, her powers were increasing, but the trauma she faced and the loss of her love brought her to a situation where she fabricated a reality, a much smaller one than this, but one that brought 2 children into her life. 2 children that weren't truly real. As many of you know, her love is Vision, a prototype of the Ultron units. Or, wait a minute. Yes, I think that's true in reality, she pauses. Regardless, those children, the loss of her loved one, those are the things that have led her to this reality. First, a complete and utter mental breakdown, and with that, and Strange says, and in some other realities, different outcomes. Wong looks confused and looks at Strange like, how the hell do you know that? We're going to have to stop the House of Magnus. And it's not going to be easy.
Well, taking down some dangerous mutants. For me, that's a Tuesday. Or at least it was.
I'm a little less suited towards that aspect of the job, but I can help. I can help a lot.
With that, Strange kind of steps forward and says, perfect, because that's exactly my thought. If I have these names correct here, more than a few of you have worked for the house directly. Just so happens that tonight is a particularly important night for the House of Magnus. The first time they are inviting guests to a grand ball at their site in Genosha. If all goes well, I believe I can well, Wong and I here can suit you up a bit, give you an opportunity to use your knowledge of the protocol required to access the House of Magnus, locate Wanda, and notify us so that we can send in the reinforcements. With that, Strange looks to all of you and says, God damn, what's Hawkeye's last name again?
Barton.
Barton. I thought
Barton.
so. I work with a Barton, but his first name's Andrew, and I kept getting stuck on that.
Andrew Barton.
Yeah, he says Barton, Howlett, Madrix, Cooper, and Akiyama. How do you feel about doing a bit of infiltration?
Oh, well, I think few are suited to such a task. There is one potential complication, though.
That being, he raised his brow.
And he kind of looks to Madrix and he goes, before we went with you, there was a copy of Madrix left behind outside the facility. They likely know that we went with you, and it's possible that to some degree we might be on some sort of watch list now. If that's the case, I think infiltrating might be somewhat more challenging.
Perhaps. It might also take them some time to get that information to Genosha. Hmm.
It's a risk I'm willing to take, but it's something to be aware of as well.
That's true.
Strange.
In either case.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
In either case, we'll definitely be in their systems. So that might not be another option for us.
Strange says, what I had in mind is going to aid you with that. It's your protocol we need, not necessarily your role. See, there's two problems with this. One, you're likely active fugitives, or at the very worst, at the very least.
Suspects.
Exactly. However, at the same time, I don't need Cooper, Akiyama, Howlett, Barton, Madrix. I just need 5 people that know how to act, how to be. The spell I have in mind, and he looks to Wong. Wong gives him a disapproving look. The spell I have in mind, it will cloud others from recognizing who you truly are. You'll fit in by default. But beware of scrutiny. Too much scrutiny on your person can open not only their mind up to it, but also Wanda's.
I see.
Hmm.
Well, I think we can manage. Right, Cooper?
Indeed. We'll certainly be able to do this.
Hmm.
Or at least we have to.
We can drop you in right into Genosha, right into the party where they're entertaining their very important guests.
Oh. Black tie?
With that, Emma says, "Indeed, the first one. Disappointing that I couldn't be there. I do love a good ball."
Oh, well, maybe this day's turning out to be more interesting than I thought. Or more fun, at least. Oh, I haven't been to an event like that in years.
And I think if do either of you want to add anything to the scene? If not, I've got a couple of small pieces, and then I think we're gonna to be continued because I am conscious of not going too late for Mark here.
I am good. The only
Yeah.
thing that I might want to do is talk to Madrix at some point, but I can save that for next session too. That's good for me.
I think that would be a good scene to do now, honestly. I think that really would.
Yeah. You want to come with Cole?
Yeah, Cole will come with.
Maybe this is just that scene where you guys have accepted. So actually, we'll do a quick transition scene,
Perfect.
and we'll transition
Yeah.
back to this. So this transition scene is an actual term in Cortex. So forget I said
Mhm.
that. The camera cuts away and shows Mystique with binoculars, effectively looking up at the vehicle as it explodes in the sky, the Blackbird. And there's a man in a suit standing beside her, and he says, "Any survivors?" She says, "A lot of them, unfortunately. But it looks like the girl and Barton didn't make it out." And he says, "Well, where are the others?" She says, "I don't know. Someone took them away. I haven't seen that kind of power before." He's like, "Do you want me to alert the others?" She says, "No, I've got it." And she reaches for her phone and holds it to her ear. And a voice comes over the phone, younger voice, and he says, "Uh-huh. Did you stop him?" She says, "Not quite." He's like, "Oh, great. Not the news I wanted. This is really, really bad. So what are you going to do about it?" And she says, "I think we got the girl. That's a good first start. She was the one that started all this. If we can stop the others, maybe it will stop the spread." He says, "Good, good, because it's really important that her lies are stopped here, okay? Really, really important. She's trying to make my sister look bad, which I'm not going to have. It's not
Oh.
acceptable. On top of that, look, Dad has a really big party tonight, and
Oh,
I
fuck.
don't want you fucking it up. So please figure this out." And she says, "Will," and you can hear the phone, the call terminates as she's about to finish. At that point, we transition back, and it's Madrix, just the three of you, the two of you and Madrix. The others are away. It's probably some room off on the side.
Have Kenji's cigarettes survived a day's events?
Oh, absolutely. They're your shtick. So even when you're like half naked, somehow you always have one. Oh, there's the one behind. Here's the one behind my ear. Where was that?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Kenji will offer one to Cole, and then
Cole kind of looks at it for a moment, and then he's like, "I don't think I smoke."
you don't think you smoke here or the other place?
I don't know anymore. Screw
Wow.
it. He puts it in his mouth. Light me up.
That's something else to consider. And he kind of pats around and he realizes he doesn't have a lighter and he just kind of sighs. One of those days. How about you, Madrix? You got anything on you?
I think it'd be really funny if Howlett's walking by and Wolverine pulls out a lighter and lights you up without saying a thing. Does that ruin
Kenji,
your idea?
no. Kenji just kind of looks over at Cole like, did that just happen? Did he like, is that real?
I don't know what's real anymore. This is all kinds of fucked up.
You all right, James?
Yeah, everything's good. So we're gonna go back to Genosha.
Well, Cole and I are. But whether or not you want to still remains to be seen,
You
huh?
can't leave me with these people.
These people. How come you didn't look earlier?
Like, I mean, I don't really understand all of this, but if I understand what the two of you are getting at, then this is better than there, right? Like, I'm supposed to find out about a worse version of this and like just be okay with that.
Kenji kind of sighs and he goes, "Yeah, that was my line of thinking as well. And to be honest, though I wanted to see, I wasn't sure if I was going to be a part of this or try to fight to support it until the last moment. But do you know what convinced me?"
He like has his eyes like buried in his hand for a moment, and he looks up when you say that, and he just shakes his head.
I think I believe the girl when she says that this is going to collapse at some point. I think that this isn't real, and it might be better for now. But I think it's only a matter of time before this becomes something warped. Do you understand what I mean?
Like, you think it'll be worse than if we deal with it now? But like, can you imagine this? What if we don't succeed? We're talking about the House of Magnus here.
I know. Exciting, isn't it? It's the blood
Hmm.
pumping.
Look,
Ultimately, what it comes down to, we don't know what's going to happen when this place collapses. And seemingly, it's going to collapse whether we do something or not. But if it does so in the wrong way, allowed to fall apart, there's a good chance nothing will survive.
his
With
eyes
this,
go wide a little bit at that thought as he entertains it. Sorry, go ahead.
we have a chance to at least correct things, put things back on the path that it was on before. Yes, it may be worse, but, well, life is a life, no matter what.
I think the expression of truth is effort, right? If we don't try and we stay comfortable, what do we risk with that?
Well, I mean, things seemed pretty stable till 2 days ago, right? Till we got sucked into this whole thing, and then now everything's turned upside down. Look, I don't know about the two of you, but I'm a detective. Like, I know how to get to the bottom of things, but I'm all this. I don't know how to do all this. Overthrow the House of Magnus sounds like a death wish.
It sounds insane, impossible, and entirely out of our reach. But, like, sometimes you just have to take a chance, right? And he's gonna flip the double-headed coin towards James.
James will kind of bobble it at first, but I'll catch it on the third bobble. Look, I don't know about this, but I don't see a better option. And if I'm forced to go in there, if I'm forced to betray Magnus in his house, then I need to at least know why.
I agree, but
Hmm.
I would rather die than force you, James. If I know you don't want to stay here, but I'm not going to ask you to do something you're not. I'm not going to ask you to do something that you object to.
I just want to make sure the two of you, your minds are made up, because I think if not, I think we could get a hold of Mystique and get out of here. Maybe alive, all of us. Like, are you sure you want to do this?
And Kenji kind of looks at Cole and sees how he reacts first before he says anything.
Cole really doesn't react with anything. He just kind of stands there still, holding the cigarette in his hand. Though I imagine for Kenji, who has kind of known him through this universe, he looks like he's ready to act if need be. Like, just zap the fuck out of this dude. But he's being calm.
Kenji kind of smiles and he goes, We could. But I think you should try and take a look at what Lila can show you about the other world. Because I won't lie to you, Medrix, it's worse. It's so much worse. But I think if this is going to come down regardless, I'd rather have a chance at doing something good over there than here. I'm comfortable here, but I can't think of the last thing that I know I felt right about. That I felt made a difference here.
He sighs and looks over to Cole. You too, Cole? You're ready for this? I think I'll say
Ready
Cooper,
as
not
I've
Cole.
ever been. Yeah. Ready as I've ever been in this life. This is something that needs to happen.
All right. If the two of you are sure, I'll at least I'll take a look. And with that, he turns around and Layla's at the door.
Of course she is.
And he kind of like does a double take and he says, all right, I'm ready. So we're going to pause that because I want to deal with what happens to Madrix after. I think it'll be fun for the beginning of the next episode.
Yeah.
But we're going to show one more scene. So we see this scene that this giant sort of castle almost, right? More modern kind of castle. There's guards dressed in like these black and red outfits here, like this guy here. This would be your standard, guardsman. But the actual outside of the building is lined with Ultron units, just lined with them. There's standing in a row, basically lining the entranceway. And as the scene cuts in, it's actually showing the guests as they're presented out loud. Each of them coming in one at a time. It looks like several have already come, but as it cuts in that sort of comic book fashion, it says, now announcing our next guest, Prince Namor. And you see Namor enter the building. Princess Aurora. And in comes Storm.
Oh.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Oh.
And in comes Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, happy as can be.
Interesting.
He's got the suit on, but no mask, as he commonly does these days, ever since he came out and became New York's savior.
Yeah, fancy Dan.
And Victor Von Doom.
What a cast.
And with that, there's a brief sort of cameras turn to the to Magnus himself, who's standing or sitting on almost like a king's throne kind of thing, and it is in fact a lovable Mr. First Class Guy reprising the role here. Slightly older version of him from what we're familiar with. And there is no member of his children present. Or there is one. She has green hair. Neither of you are familiar with her. And with that, we'll go ahead and to be continued for
the
third session.
Wonderful.
What a cool setup. Oh, I love this.
Yeah, I love this alternate reality play. It gives us some fun. It's a great thing, I think, to have two non-canon characters enter into, because it's like, I know that some of those scenes tonight were designed with a whole bunch of NPCs, but just keep in mind that this is a bit more of a prologue. When we get to actual District X stuff, it'll be very, very, very player character focused in its themes and mood and style. So
I don't know. I kind of want to kick in Namor's shit. Can we do that? I mean,
possible.
Probably not, given our power sets, honestly. But
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I'm not sure you want to with how you guys have set up your characters so far.
I will psychokinesis him. No, I will psychometry. I will read his bod so good that I'll be able to give him therapy, and that'll stop him forever.
Mark will burn him real bad / burn himself really bad.
Yeah. A Pyrrhic victory, if anything.
The question is, what will happen to supernatural durability and stamina Namor versus Cooper? Which one goes down first? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. But thanks guys. It was great getting some insight into the characters this time through, and I look forward to our conclusion next session.
So. Yeah, this one's a lot of fun because I don't have as defined a character, I think, as I do for Dallin, but I'm finding that through the sessions. I love that process of finding a character. It's super fun.
Yeah, my thought for this is you guys will be two of the three. You represent two of the three sort of games. There's a game. There's one game. I'm not sure I'm going to spoil those things, but you represent two of the three, and one is X Factor, and the other one is the Mutant Town Blues. So
very fun, very fun.
Yeah, and then a third to be confirmed. Why don't we go ahead and just close her out? Do either of you have anything to add? I'll just real quick promote the Pendragon game, which is my only active stream at this point. Everything else is on hold till we get done with some stuff. But
that was what I was going to promote as well. So
we do have an active Discord. I'll ruin Mark's thing too. You're welcome to join our community. Yay! That's all I got. I'm tired.
You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Coakley. I say funny things sometimes. I occasionally Twitch stream at that same name. And I'm working on some fun projects that I think will be up in the near future, and those will be very, very exciting. Do check out the Discord as well. I'm gonna do it as well. Let's all do it. Let's all talk about let's all do it together, actually, specifically. Yeah, let's do that.
Perfect. Mark is showing us his Discord.
Come here with us. See memes. See shit posting. big yes. Join.
Big.
Big.
All right, guys. Thank
And
you
yeah,
very much
that-
for participating, and thanks all for watching. And we'll see you at the next one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.